how to make a video a short on YouTube. Now, by the end of this video, we're going to go over the key components of making long-form video into short-form content and a couple critical things that you do not want to overlook. So let's go over that right now. Now, by the end of this video, you're going to know the key points, how to build a short out of a long-form content, and hopefully end up dominating in your niche. Let's dive in. Now, I know if you're sitting here thinking long-form content, YouTube shorts, or even just promoting it with shorter video content from the original stuff, that's great. Yes, absolutely pursue that. There are a few things you do need to consider and make sure that you put into each one of your shorts, and let's go over that first. Shorts are just as important as long-form content. Now, when it comes to payout, certainly long-form content with YouTube pays a lot more than short-form content, and if you've seen any of my other videos, I go over those in several other videos talking about payouts and long-form versus short-form. Now, they're just as important because 9 times out of 10, what ends up happening is your short-form content points to and directs people and entices people to go back to your long form channel and check out all the information. Remember, short form content for YouTube shorts can only be 60 seconds long. Frankly, I would recommend nothing more than 59.9 seconds. Make sure that is definitely under the 60-second mark. Now, you can have a 15-second one, you can have a 22-second one, an 8-second one, a 37-second one. Doesn't matter as long as it's under 60. And again, it's probably going to be used to direct people towards your long form channel. But remember, your short form is just a sneak preview, a little glimpse at the long form stuff, a little enticement to get people to come over there. So a couple things you need to be sure to build into every single short. Number one, a complete thought. It's got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Give some kind of an introduction, give the content, and wrap it up at the end. Now, this doesn't have to be as blatant as a beginning, middle, and end, but you've got to start at a point where a viewer can jump in, and again, whether it's 15 seconds or 60 seconds, and still know exactly where this video is going. Oh, you're covering this, okay. And it can be something as simple as, cutting that chunk out that starts with, now when it comes to changing an alternator on your car, now we know what you're talking about. Okay, you're talking about changing alternators. Now, for the car aficionado, somebody who's into changing alternators and needs to change one, that's a great hook. It starts out right where it needs to start out. You'd cover a couple things about alternators and say, it should only take about 30 minutes. Boom, done. Quick little video that brings them back to the details of the long-form content. But don't forget, shorts get a beginning, a middle, and an end. Another thing about shorts is they need to tell their own story. Again, if the most critical time in a video is the first 3 to 5 seconds, who cares how many seconds are afterwards? Your intro, your hook, your very beginning, whether it's 3 seconds of a 30, 3 seconds of a 60, or 3 seconds of an 18-minute, 3 seconds at the beginning is 3 seconds at the beginning. That part has to be right. And again, it can be something as, it's okay to catch it mid-sentence. You probably will. Maybe it's a little card that you need to put up at the very beginning. Flash it up there, just a few words to get somebody into the mindset of where is this video going. Don't just assume that because somebody's found your short that it's self-explanatory. Sometimes shorts, I hate to say this, but we run into this all the time in radio. A 60-second ad is much easier to write than a 30-second ad. Believe it or not, an 18-minute video is much easier to make than a 30-second short out of that 18-minute video. You've got all that information that is now not necessarily compressed into one video, but it's got to give enough of an impression to get the viewer to go to that 18-minute video. So no matter how you want to play it out, it's got to have its own beginning, middle, and end, and be sure that it tells its own compact story. Doesn't have to be a really blatant story, but it's got to be a nice, neat package all wrapped up into the short amount of seconds that you're going to be using for whatever it is. So when it comes to all of this stuff for your business, whether it's long form video, short form video, podcasting, blogging, even radio commercials, we cover that all here on this channel. So be sure to like and subscribe and use it to your advantage. Leverage this information and skyrocket your success as well. So what are some of the things that will help you in actually building your short form video? Well, start with your main point. What is it that you want to convey? And I'm sure you've done it in the long form video, and then work backwards. If you know where you're going, you can always start wherever you want to start. Start here, start here, start here, start here. But if this is your destination every single time, or if this is the destination for this video, doesn't matter where you begin, each route is going to get you there, but you're going to take a little slightly different journey, which is okay. Just know what your ending point is. So is this going to be something that you can tell a story about? You can use it as an example or something like that. I have a lot of advertising stories that I like to tell about the famous time when a very young David Ogilvy, who is pretty much known as the father of modern advertising, David Ogilvy was on a train with William Wrigley, yes, that Wrigley, Gum Stadium, yes, that Wrigley. That's a great story to tell certain times. There are other great ones when the cake company tried to open up in Japan. How did that flop? That's a very good advertising story, a piece of advertising history in that one. All kinds of stuff. What kind of story are you going to tell? Again, a beginning, a middle, and end. Some type of a resolution, some type of a point, some type of a lesson to be learned. Is this going to be more on the technical side? Are you covering a setup or something like that? Maybe you only have time to show one part of the setup, maybe just the beginning, or maybe if we're going over video, we can talk about color correction real quick, or maybe if we're doing a podcast, I talk about EQing or something like that. Well, there's a lot more to a podcast than just EQing, but my short is only going to focus on that. Be sure that that one message is a self-contained little tiny chapter that is consumable in that 30 to 60 seconds all by itself. Sometimes, depending on how you decide to present this, are you going to need room for an intro or an outro? That's great for a branding perspective. That way it kind of goes together and really fits in nicely with your long form content. Using a shortened version of your intro and outro, maybe using the same background music, the two are easily, you can associate the two together. Oh, this came from that channel. This short came from that long form content. Great. That's perfect. But in a shortened situation, if you're only going to be doing 30 seconds, you're probably going to use 3 to 5 seconds between the intro and the outro, and now you're down to 25 seconds of content. And again, get its own story, a beginning, middle, and end. Make sure the whole thing is nice, compact, and now you're just cramming all of that into a much shorter time. So just be aware of your time constraints and work backwards from there. There are sometimes you may want to include a call to action in your shorts. Sometimes. There are a couple different ways to accomplish this. Number one, if it's part of the video, that's going to take up time. Again, we just talked about the intros and the outros taking up time. Now you're going to add a call to action or a CTA. That takes up a few more time. Your intro came in, your outro came in, then your CTA. Now you're just down to this for content. How is that going to play out? Is that 49 seconds? Or is that 19 seconds? It's a big difference. And again, you don't want to shortchange your viewer. You want to be sure that they get just enough, a tease, a satisfaction, maybe something to act on, that they'll come back and see your long form content. It's the whole purpose, pointing them back to the long form content. And then the other way it pays off, first of all, for your business, all long form content is going to be out there culling and looking for and enticing new clients. Signing up new clients, getting people who want to work with you in whatever you're doing. The second bit is, after a while, you'll end up making some money off of YouTube advertising, whether it's the long form content that pays much better than the short form, or if you start a separate channel for your shorts, which I would highly recommend you do. Don't blend them in with the long form content. Make a separate channel for your shorts. You'll also make a little bit of money off of that, and I mean a little. The key is pointing everybody to the long form content, both for the know, like, and trust factor, the education and learning, so they'll sign up as a client, and also the YouTube payoff. Why not? So how exactly do you do this? Well, I have a free video for you. There's a link in the description down below for Slice and Dice. That teaches you all about how to take long form content and chop it up into short form content. Click below and you'll have instant access to Slice and Dice. I'm Nick Natarella with AdWise Creative. Thank you for watching.